Yes, we go. Where I go. Welcome everyone to the VTCTA sector update. Thank you for joining us. I'm Viv Cunningham-Smith. I'm Secretary of the VTCTA and also CEO of Eastern Volunteers. I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the custodians of the lands upon which we meet today and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to their emerging leaders who we look forward to working with into the future. And thank you again for everyone who is joining us. We have some people, I believe, who are joining us for the first time. So a special welcome to them. We have a number of speakers today, and I would like to welcome Lyndon, Stevenson, who's chair of VTCTA and the Australian Peak ACTA, Richard Milne from Transport, and Sinisha Krstov from the Multicultural Affairs. I hope I've got everybody's title at least somewhat right there. I would certainly like to start today straight off with a sector update from Lyndon. So I will pass over to Lyndon to get us started.
Thanks, Viv. And I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians on the lands which we meet today all over the place. So thanks, Viv. And look, just I guess from ACTA, so from the Australian Community Transport Association, just a little update. Our members will, I'd like to remind members that we have recently completed a position paper on block funding. So that's now available again on the web. So please do, if you haven't had a chance to look at that, please do so. Off the back of that, we have engaged a firm called Movement in Place to provide a second paper around funding models and of course the I guess understanding the noise around the market around on-demand type services, and I guess really pointing out that you know, community transport is the absolute innovator and developer when it comes to efficient, effective, safe community transport. Effectively on-demand transport, as we know, means that you need to be a level of inefficiency to be efficient, whereas we know as community transport is fully efficient service. So that document is being developed and will be communicated in due course. We know the Department of Health, again, in terms of the aged care roadmap and looking to combined aged care services into essentially two levels of service. So home care packages and CHSP program coming together to care at home. So we know we're looking at funding models for that. And health consult have been engaged by the Department of Health to look at assessment, classification and funding ACF model. And I know that members may be asked to engage in that process by the department. So we encourage you to do so. ACTA will be providing more information to members on that process because ACTA is a key stakeholder throughout the consultation process. So more information to come there. At a recent meeting of ACTA, that when we're speaking to the department, that growth funding is back on the table, which is fantastic for the sector. We know that at the moment with the distancing requirements that, and of course states are in different phases of that place, that achieving performance outputs, one, isn't possible and nor should be possible given that we need to spread people out. So growth funding is back on the table, which is fantastic, and more information to come about that as well. The COVID emergency funding, so just reminding to members again that there is Commonwealth Home Support COVID emergency funding, so particularly for our friends in Victoria, that there is funding available through the Grants Hub for providers that are affected by COVID. And that's pretty much it. But again, I think really important to follow the position paper. It really articulates the moving away from block funding and what that actually means for providers in terms of the consumer directed care model. And essentially, you know, at the moment, the block funding model really allows, I guess, states to get funding from the Commonwealth into the state. to provide the maximum transport possible. Moving away from that model has been assessed as a reduction in funding to states, so there'll be gaps created by any change to the funding model. So I really encourage members to continue looking into that issue. That's probably it from me. Thanks, Viv.
Great, thanks, Lyndon. Are there any questions of Lyndon? No? Excellent. I too would encourage you to look at that issues paper, make your local members aware of that issues paper. Really important that they understand the critical place-based role that we play as community transport providers. And certainly also as a member of the ACTA board, I can reinforce that the consultants that we've brought on board certainly understand us as community transport. So I was very positive when I heard them speak that their research will certainly be a boon to promoting community transport, particularly within Victoria, where we have experienced a longer lockdown. So thank you, Lyndon. I would like to introduce Richard Milne to everyone. Welcome, Richard. Richard is the Senior Advisor, Network Integration, Department of Transport with the Victorian Government. And Richard has a presentation for us, after which I'll open up to some questions. So Suzanne, are we bringing Richard's presentation up? And I will hand over to Richard. Welcome to the VTCTA sector, Richard.
Thanks, Viv. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be here today and have the opportunity to listen and meet you all. I've got some of my colleagues here from Department of Transport too, who are regionally based. Have we got the presentation up? Here we go. I've asked Suzanne to make this available as well, so it's just a short presentation.
Suzanne, down on the right down the bottom, on the right. That's it.
Excellent. Right, we'll jump to the next slide. So I work with the Department of Transport, an area called Network Integration, but my role really is a sort of a coordination role, working with regionally based teams to, I guess, deliver a work program that cuts across all of the transport portfolio. And one particular area is the delivery of a program called the Flexible Local Transport Solutions Program. I'm going to talk to you a wee bit about that today because it has opportunities for the community transport sector. I'm here today, and so my colleagues, I guess we're very interested in the community transport sector and how it's been travelling, and to get a feel of sort of the issues and challenges, and also what activities you've been involved in, and what you see going forward. That paper that Lyndon mentioned earlier, I certainly want to have a closer look at that, make sure that we're feeding that advice and intel back in through the department. Also want to flag a possible regional community transport roundtable we would like to facilitate in 2021, as well as provide an overview of the FLTSA program. So go to the next slide. Next slide. Thank you. So the program itself was established in 2018, and its aim is to, I guess, support or fund, invest in small local transport initiatives that better connect regional Victorians. The program aims to provide flexible, tailored transport services or trials in regional Victoria. It invests in small-scale initiatives that address transport disadvantage, integrate other transport options, and generally improve transport access. The department I guess, is a key stakeholder that helps deliver, but we work with local transport organisations, regional partnerships, councils and community organisations to, I guess, identify opportunities that can be supported and progress to applications. You will see an email address there, which I guess is the starting point for finding more about the program, and also to start the conversation with us. And from there, we'll connect you with some of our regionally based representatives who, I guess, discuss the specific issue or opportunity that you might like to talk to us about. Jump to the next slide. So there's 4 key areas that the program looks to support. And I should say the funding is not ongoing funding. It's really there for pilots and to, I guess, test new ideas and get things going. So the first area is really about driving reform and innovation and delivery of transport services. So this could be, I guess, online technology or on-demand models. The second area is around small capital projects that better integrate the transport network. It could be safety, access, or better connectivity, such as for active transport and pathways. The third area is it's promoting inclusion for remote, disadvantaged Indigenous communities, providing transport options that connect them with healthcare, local businesses, amenities, essential services, where that hasn't happened before. And the fourth area is really around, I guess, transport planning at the local level to make sure, I guess, we're informed about the future needs and that investment can be targeted. Okay, next slide. So just 4 examples that I want to talk to you about, just give you a bit of context. So the first one is a project we've invested in with community accessibility in Hume called One Network. And they've been working with the CSIRO to develop, an online product that allows them to manage a fleet of community vehicles, to do online booking and also equipped with routing equipment. And they're doing trials with a local council as well. We see this project potentially could be a game changer for a number of community transport organisations, allowing potentially the booking side of things to be handled by someone else. The other area, another one is Woodbine Inc., where we've funded 2 minibuses, and they've now created a transport service between Warwick, Nabil and Horsham that didn't exist before. Another example is sometimes with public transport, it's not possible to get to direct routes where you want to get to, particularly in regional Victoria. So we've piloted an initiative with AGA Apprentice Plus in South Gippsland and Bass Coast, which now allows the chartering of a bus to take students who live in Bass Coast and South Gippsland to access vet programs in Croomborough and Leongatha. And that's been hugely successful. Without that transport link there, a lot of the kids would not follow through with the opportunity for vet training. And another one that's going on at the moment that's a bit interesting was with Cunningham Shire. We're doing an audit with them to identify community transport assets that are out there and how they could be better leveraged, and what opportunities there might be. And this will allow them to, co-invest, or it'll target investment better. Okay, so that's the FLIPSIT program. The Community Transport Roundtable, we've been having discussions with Suzanne and also with Travellers Aid and a few others about bringing the sector together. I mean, you come together anyway, but the Victorian government's very interested to engage with you, but also, I guess, bring together to share ideas and best practice through some of the projects that we've already funded through the FLIPSIT program. But there are many other things that are being done out there that we think would be valuable for people to hear about. And I guess one of the other aims would be, how can we collaborate to get more seamless connected journeys for disadvantaged regional Victorians, but also importantly, give you an opportunity to provide feedback and information back to the Victorian government, which obviously, we can consider as part of future policy considerations. And I think that's the last slide. So look, I'm open for questions.
Great, thank you, Richard. Could I start off by saying by asking a question around what is your definition of regional?
Good question. So Regional Development Victoria have got the regional partnerships that you might be aware of. So they've got, there's regional local government boundaries that define those. So we've got the Barwon region, the Hume region, Loddon Mallee region, Gippsland and Grampians region. The program FLITSIP is really there for remote and based communities. So it's not we have funded some metro ones before where there's been gaps there, but there are other mechanisms too. I know that, for example, the Metro Eastern Partnership is doing an audit through funds that they've got for the partnership. So there are other mechanisms for Metro as well.
Yeah, and certainly that's my area, and we're doing a lot of work on flexible transport options in the Upper Yarra, which is why I was asking, because it's regional without being regional, because it's stuck in Eastern Metro. So I will progress that possibly offline with yourself and other people. We have a question from Jeanette. And Jeanette, would you like to take yourself off mute and just ask the question, please, if that's possible?
I don't think you can hear me.
Okay. I'll ask it for you then, Jeanette. Richard, were you approached by these areas or did they come to you? And who have you contacted in the South Grampians area?
So we've got regionally based teams that I guess work with local councils, community transport organisations. So for the Grampians area, lady by the name of Angela Duraxco is our contact there, and she'll proactively go out and connect, but we don't connect with everybody. So I guess this is the reason why we've come to this forum today, and we're going to obviously do things next year. So the Centre for Participation, we've done a few projects with them. I mentioned Woodbine as well. Those are two that I'm aware of.
Great, thanks, Richard. Other questions? We have one from Rebecca Burton, and it would help us, guys, if you, because I'm not around all of your regions either, so if you have a question, just let us know what region you're from. But Rebecca, Richard, are you able to provide the contact details for the different regions?
Absolutely, I'll send them through Suzanne after this.
Great, and we will distribute them. Excellent, thank you. Other questions? Yeah.
Viv, it's Jim Watkins. I'm in Ballarat, Richard, and I provide the community transport in Ballarat and for Uniting VICTAS. And our office in Ararat also provides community transport. To my knowledge, we've never had anybody actually contact us and let us know that you actually got existing in our area.
Right.
So I'm curious to see who your people have actually been contacting about transport.
So Jim, I apologise that we haven't connected with you. As I said, it's sometimes if we don't know who's out there, it's difficult to connect. So we will make sure that I'll ask Angela to contact you. So where are you from again, Jim?
From Uniting in Ballarat, Uniting VICTAS Ballarat. So we run a community transport in Ballarat and Ararat.
Very good. I'll get Angela to give you a call. We'll be pleased to connect with you and hear about what you're doing and see if there's any opportunities we've got to support.
Thank
Lovely. Kezia.
Kezia, hello everyone.
Yeah.
I'm Inga Gary, which is in the Shire of Campaspe, and this is a very broad question. On Monday, I spoke to one of our governing bodies about whether we could restart our community transport program, and as of Monday, it was a no, and that was still coming down from DHHS. Does anyone know if we are able to actually resume yet?
I'll hand that one over to Suzanne. Do you want to talk about that?
So my understanding is that the majority of community transport organisations haven't ceased delivering service. They just transitioned their service to meet the needs of their people are within the requirements that were in place. So, sorry, the lady who was speaking then, are you from what sort of organisation are you from?
I'm a neighbourhood house, and neighbourhood.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Cease community transport. Yeah.
Yes. So I think so organisations who predominantly deliver community transport haven't ceased operations. They have transitioned and delivered in a different way and within the requirements. Majority of those are now transitioning back to, once the 4 reasons to leave home ceased, a lot of organisations, I think the majority, have resumed back as they were within the new restrictions. So we don't, I mean, feel free to jump in, Viv, or perhaps read if you're there, that you are able to deliver service. That is what is occurring.
Absolutely, yeah. All, I'll speak on behalf of Eastern Volunteers. So we haven't ever ceased community transport. We have put in COVID safe plans from day one, and obviously those have changed depending upon restrictions. So in stage 4, we reduced to health only transport, medical only transport. We're now pretty much opened up again. In fact, from the day that you could go to your hairdressers, our referrals jumped through the roof because people wanted to get back out. So we've adjusted our COVID safe plan, adjusted all of our infection control processes, and are pretty much now transporting not only for health reasons, but for social and wellbeing reasons again. People are coming back to us, and I think one of the key issues that a lot of community transport services in Victoria are facing, and I would encourage you to look at the Commonwealth COVID money, is that, a percentage of our drivers were over 70, and of course are not going to come back in the way that, that it's an easy way to come back. So a number of us are looking at alternative approaches to our driver pool.
Sorry to interrupt, Victor. I actually meant, because we are funded from DHHS, we were specifically directed to cease. So maybe I need to actually contact DHHS and see if, as of the 23rd of November, if those restrictions are going to be, eased, because we've remained open to offer essential services. We just weren't able to offer transport. So obviously I might have to go to a different department, but I appreciate everything you're saying. And we do have the volunteer driver pool in that 70 age bracket as well. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and look, certainly, Kezia, it's unfortunate DHHS had you cease, because many, we were all capable of continuing safely, but certainly if you want to reach out with to any of us in terms of that rebuilding challenges, recovery, please feel free to do so. Silvana, did you have a question? Silvana, can you take yourself off mute, please?
Okay. Yeah. So just in line with what you're saying, Viv, we too continue to provide transport at a reduced way, with only one person on the bus at a time on our smaller vehicles. But I did ring DHS to ask about when the 4 reasons to stop going out were lifted, and they suggested that nobody had asked them was what the response I got. But in the end, they said as long as you transported no more, depending on the size of the vehicle and maintaining the 1.5 metre distance, no more than 2 households. So you could have potentially transported 4 people, 2 from each household, a couple. Was the way to go at the moment, and on a smaller vehicle, 1 or from one household. Of course, we're actually looking at we've had the the sanitisation and the hygiene standards maintained, but as the numbers are increasing now, we're looking to install brackets for hand sanitizer so people can sanitize themselves as they come in rather than getting the drivers to do all that. So yeah, and we started with the smaller groups as well, socializing, just small numbers.
Thanks, Silvana.
Okay, now trying to lower my hand. Oh, there it is. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Amy has I think it's more a statement than a question, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Amy said, I understood the barrier was that community transport has a classification of a community service, meaning we need to provide 4 square metres per person. And that is correct. We still need to respect the 4 square metre ruling around transport. Are there any other questions of Richard and the Regional Transport Initiative? No. Lovely, thank you. Could I just ask a general question? We've all had exceedingly robust COVID safe plans. I'll probably say, I won't ask it as a question, I'll say it as a statement. As we transition now, if people need some support or would like to share their COVID safe plans or would like to talk over the changes in their COVID safe plans, Suzanne is the best port of call to connect you to people who have either done the work, met the challenges, or certainly looked at COVID recovery strategies. So please reach out if you need to, but I'm sure we've all progressed our competencies in COVID safe plans to a very high level these days. Well, certainly if people are interested in looking at COVID recovery as another sector update, we would certainly be interested in hearing. So can I say thank you, Richard? And, it's really encouraging that you are actively looking at regional community transport options because of the role we play, especially with those who are transport vulnerable. And we look forward to hearing about the growth of those initiatives and the innovation in some of those initiatives, which is really exciting. So thank you. Please stay online. I would now like to introduce people to Sinisha Krstov, Team Leader, Access and Support with the Australian Multicultural Community Services. So welcome, and I will hand over to Sinisha.
Thanks, Viv, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of your meeting today and talk a little bit about Australian Multicultural Community Services and the importance of supporting culturally and linguistically diverse seniors and clients in an appropriate way and delivering services in line with people's services who are responsive to the client's culture and language. Australian Multicultural Community Services, or AMCS, is a community-based, not-for-profit organisation that supports CALD communities for over 35 years. Our mission is to improve people's lives through care, support and empowerment, and deliver services that are responsive to clients' CALD support needs, and that includes transport and transport services as well. Why is this important? Well, if we look back in 2006, according to the data from the census, 17% of people 65 plus were from CALD background, and that has increased to 25% according to the data in the census from 2016, and there is a trend that will continue, and we see more and more culturally and linguistically diverse seniors, like, and members, like, of the communities of this particular community that are aging, and with that in need of more support services. We do even have, for example, some local government areas like Brimbank that have 50% of their population 65 plus from culturally and linguistically diverse background, hence the importance of delivering CALD appropriate services. COVID has impacted, like everyone else, like CALD clients as well in many ways. And from what we can see on the field is a lot of anxiety, but with that social isolation levels skyrocketing for CALD communities as well. And as you can imagine, CALD community pardon me, members are experiencing numbers of barriers in accessing any services, and this situation just adds up on that and results with a lot of CALD community members, in particular seniors who live alone, no support networks in place, and there's a lot of people like that out in the community, facing significant levels of social isolation and closing themselves up and closing themselves to services as well, even services that were accessed before. So hence I would like to emphasize the fact of keeping in contact, the importance of keeping in contact with these clients of yours or any organization. It's critical during this COVID period. And what I can recommend for organizations delivering services, including transport, is to stay in touch with their CALD clients, any clients, basically. And also when they talk to the clients, try to empower them with information so they can make an up-to-date and informed decisions about their services and their care. And do that in line with their culture and show a little bit of understanding of their culture and deliver language-specific information if needed to make sure that these people understand how the services is delivered in COVID-19 environment, why is this important, etc. So if I assume that most of you will have contact and support clients from different cultures, or we say CALD community members. That's the abbreviation we'll use, and you'll already have experienced what I'm trying to communicate with all of you today. The reason why I'm here is to stress the importance, again, of delivering services, including transport, that are responsive to the client's diversity. Doesn't have to be only language and or culture, can be any other thing that makes them specific, and it is important to support people in line with their care needs and what their expectations are from us as a service providers. So basically that was my short talk, and I'm here to address any questions if you have any, or share some of our experiences, hear your comments. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sinisha. And just from an Eastern Volunteers perspective, to let you know, we also run a volunteer resource service, as does Southeastern, my colleague Anne's here as well. And when COVID commenced, we immediately started a volunteer bank, and I reinforce the issues that you raised there, because we supplied a range of volunteers in, I think, about 10 languages to the multicultural services within the Eastern region to do welfare checks because of the significant confusion and isolation that people were feeling. And those volunteers have continued to do that work up to now. And I guess I'm interested in exploring, I think, one of the issues around communication and whether there are opportunities to work with you around how we might communicate to varying CALD communities about the concept of community transport. I'd be interested in hearing your views on opportunities to rather than deal with it in silos, like I develop pamphlets in this and this language, or I'll develop initiatives in languages, is, what have you seen work in terms of providing good communication to communities around issues of transport?
Yep. As an organization, we're open for consultations with any providers and sharing our expertise in supporting culturally and linguistically diverse people. When we say communication with CULT communities, it's beyond communication. It's establishing trust with the CULT community members, and that ensures that these community members feel okay, feel good about being supported, like from the organization. The trust is established over there, and that makes them feel comfortable with the service, and prevents them to drop out from services despite the fact that they may need that particular service, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you. So, if we have issues, we can consult you and your organisation around, particular approaches that we might be thinking of, particular issues that we may experience. Yep, great.
More than welcome.
Great. Does anyone have particular issues or questions for Sinisha? Excuse me. No, not at this stage. Great. Look, thank you so much. I'm a girl from Wollongong in New South Wales, which 48% of our population in Wollongong is from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. So it is something that I've always held in terms of how you ensure equity of access to services, and that trust is really important.
And there will be more and more people from culturally and linguistically diverse background coming into the service system as well. We are all aware that all these migrants that came after the Second World War from Eastern Europe and elsewhere are now reaching the stage where they become seniors in need of support, and they are aging as well. So that particular population is aging, so we'll see more and more people coming into the service system. Hence, it's good for any organization to be well prepared for that and have the resources and appropriate services in place, so you can open up and say, well, we can provide support in line with your care needs.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing, because we're looking at the issues of aging as well, not just transport. So, in my experience, from the wars and Kosovo and that, you've got torture trauma issues. You've got issues of differences between countries that were involved in that war. That are really sensitive, that organisations have to be aware of, because as you age, you don't necessarily lose the impact of that, and certainly in terms of driver training and sensitivity around culture, that would be really important.
And it's about understanding the people that you're supporting. So let's say in COVID environment now, social support groups are suspended, and we do deliver alternative services. But when we start talking about reopening and organizing transport and some activities, like there are communities like the Cantonese speaking community, they're saying, no, until like some government official like goes on TV and says it's okay to go, we won't go anywhere. And then like you have the more resilient kind of Eastern European background clients who went through wars, so queuing in front of the supermarket, it's nothing new to them, so they're very resilient. They understand the situation and are saying, okay, this is the situation, but what can we do about it? So we can go out and prevent social isolation, re-establish our connection with the community members and all that. So understanding your people and building the trust is very important in order to deliver a quality service.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So if there aren't any other questions, Suzanne, we might...
There's one more question in there, Viv, just from Kevin Kelly. Maybe, Kevin, if you'd just like to ask it, if possible.
Sorry, Kevin, I missed that.
Hi, Kevin. I'm at Knox City Council in outer eastern Melbourne. Richard, I'm just happy to see that this regional initiative up and running. Do you know if there's anything similar, any similar audits are going to take place in Metro Melbourne?
So I know that the Metro East Partnership's doing an audit, and look, I think it might be something that other partnerships pick up. So I guess we need to promote the ones that have been done and the outcomes that have come from them.
So I would add in there that, so Kevin is part of Knox City Council, so I believe they're part of the Eastern Metropolitan Partnership, and that I think Kevin, your CEO, is involved in that review at the moment. Are you aware of that, Kevin? Or yes, we can have it. I can have a chat to you about that after this, if you like. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think, you know, certainly from an Eastern Volunteers perspective, we are really keen to get person-to-person interaction in that review as well. I think it's important for people to understand and for us to be confident that people understand community transport in all its shapes as we deliver it. So yeah, Kevin and Suzanne and I might take that offline and have a bit of a natter about how we reach out to them. Lovely. Well, look, I might call it a day. Thank you again to Richard and to all of Richard's colleagues who joined us. We're always open to talking about community transport, so please feel free to touch base with any of us through Suzanne, because we love in Victoria to show you the great work that we are doing in community. Thank you to Sinisha, and we will certainly be hopefully interacting more with your services around assisting us to respond in culturally appropriate ways as we move out of COVID into a more normal COVID normal environment, whatever that looks like next year. And so thank you. Knowing that your services are there, knowing that we can access you for sage advice is really important. Suzanne, thank you again for bringing us together. Suzanne does a great job in ensuring that we can continue to work as a united sector here. Certainly Lyndon, may I say, is we are very lucky to have Lyndon on board, who has a long history and understanding of our work in our sector and is a great advocate for us. That issues paper I will reinforce again. Really important for you to get your head around that, to participate in a dialogue over that, to show it around your area to everybody that you can, particularly your Commonwealth representatives, but your CEOs. It is a great, it's a great paper around what some of the challenges are, but also about us and the quality of services we provide. So thank you, everyone. I wish you a sunny, happy Thursday, and for those of us in Metro Melbourne, I wish you a wonderful second weekend out and about, being able to eat in good restaurants and have your local coffees. So Kezia, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you at the next sector update.